But none of those authors write like Tolkien does throughout the entire book, but I'll pick a couple examples. After Sauron is overthrown, there's a great gathering of all the hosts on the field of Cormallin. And Frodo and Sam are there in a tent, and they get led out with the guards, making a path for them. And this entire host is waiting for them. And they are set upon thrones by Aragorn, and all the host bows to them. And then a minstrel comes up. And he says, everybody here, listen to my lay, for I will sing to you of Frodo of the Nine Fingers in the Ring of Doom. Which, funny enough, Sam had actually joked about, that'd be a really cool song to listen to. So Sam says, oh, great glory and splendor.
Overheard that and said, I'm going to call it that.
So Sam says, oh, great glory and splendor, and all my wishes have come true. And then he wept. And all the host laughed and wept. And in the midst of their merriment and tears, the clear voice of the minstrel rose like silver and gold. And all men were hushed. And he sang to them, now in the elven tongue, now in the speech of the West, until their hearts, wounded with sweet words, overflowed, and their joy was like swords. And they passed in thought out to regions where pain and delight flow together, and tears are the very wine of blessedness. Now listen to that, and just imagine Imagine the most important thing you've done in your life. And imagine all the hell you've gone to attain those things. To be given those things by God. And to work with him in it. And sit with that a long while. And you will understand not just how aspirational The Lord of the Rings is, but how good Tolkien can write. How well he understands and can represent the human heart.
Even in his time, nobody was writing like that. You find any other novel from 1948 or 1952 or 1956, nobody would have been writing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Animal Farm wasn't written that way.
But even among the British, nobody was writing like that. Because Tolkien set out to create an epic myth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what he did. And he did it to near perfection.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 99.9%, even though I don't know what that 0.1% fault is. Because that's the absolute minimum fault that something can have that is not created by divine hands.
Yep. Sanderson can write an epic description of trust in the the qualities that he wants his characters to learn to embody. He can write great descriptions of how they feel. He's quite good at that.
Of how love takes root in the human heart, which was Orson Scott Card's estimation of the Well of Ascension. He said that Sanderson was astoundingly wise because of his ideas on the nature of leadership and how love takes root in the human heart.
Yeah.
That's at least nearly a direct quote. And in the Well of Ascension, yeah. That is what that story is about. It's about leadership and the love between a man and a woman.
Man, he does an elite job. But he doesn't know how to describe it, and he's not setting out to, but he's not going to describe somebody feeling a joy as if it's a sword. Which somehow is more fulfilling, because it lets me imagine that even more. I'm not trying to relate to it. I'm trying to imagine it. Like it's something that's almost too good to be true. But I know that it is the fulfillment of all my desires, right? Kind of. Yeah. To feel joy like a sword. To feel it that deep and cutting and beautiful.
Yeah, and if you don't have to just like scientifically dissect it and go, what precisely does that mean? Like, just listen to it. You felt joy like a sword.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It means it thrust into you. It can mean one of two things. It has thrust into you like a sword has pierced your heart, but in the best way possible. Or it has cut through the gloom and darkness of your mind. like the sharpest blade ever made. Either way, you felt joy like swords.
Exactly.
That's what it means. It means you felt joy like swords. I don't know how else to describe it. Stop looking for an allegory. Stop looking for a hidden meaning. Stop looking for, well, this represents this, because it doesn't. Galadriel is Galadriel. And that's it. Take them for what they are, because that is how they were made.
Yeah, Galadriel is not meant to represent something. Although the closest thing would probably be your really crazy and edgy and morally questionable aunt.
Instead of a Dark Lord, you would have a queen. Not dark, but beautiful and terrible as the dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, Sharon, put the wine down. Just... I will also interject here. No one has ever written as beautifully as Tolkien. There is one man who came close, and that was Robert Jordan with The Wheel of Time. The last few pages of The Lord of the Rings are the most beautiful, elegant, and true things that I have ever read. Granted, because it's 14 books that are all like that thick, I have not read even very much of The Wheel of Time, mostly because I've been interrupted. Actually, I've barely gotten a quarter of the way through the first book, but the prologue of the first book of The Wheel of Time is astoundingly well written. And beautifully written. And in the first paragraph of the first chapter, it says, "There are no beginnings or endings with the Wheel of Time, but this certainly was a beginning." Again, a flawed worldview from the start, but no one should, I doubt will, or should, ever doubt Robert Jordan's ability as a wordsmith. And it's sad that he passed away before he finished it and handed it over to Brandon Sanderson to finish. But no one should ever question his skill with words, because he wrote beautifully too. I would say Tolkien wrote with a particularly English beauty, and Robert Jordan wrote with a particularly American sort of beauty. Because he was American. I think he was from Utah. Or Nevada, one of those places. I'm not positive. Somebody will correct me. But he's the one that has not mentioned, and I would be remiss if I did not mention Robert Jordan, even in passing. Or out of obligation, because I give him second place. I haven't even read The Wheel of Time in its entirety, not even close. I haven't even read The Eye of the World in its entirety. I have a book that was published post-mortem called The Warrior of the Altai that I have read probably a third of. And I still give Robert Jordan second place to Tolkien. It will not be higher than that. He will not surpass Tolkien. But I can already tell by what little I've experienced that he deserves the second place. And that is a podium like Formula One. It matters that you podium.
Yeah. That's respect. I don't think of Robert Jordan because I haven't read any of his stuff, but I am somewhat intrigued to read it now. I think
everybody should at least read The Eye of the World.
Okay.
Which is the first book of The Wheel of Time. I don't blame you for not wanting to read all of it, because it's 14 books, and at some point, to quote somebody online that I heard, it feels like nerd homework. Like, I'm just reading through this so I can say that I did.
But you said it's beautiful. And that speaks to something. That speaks to something that... I mean, put it this way. I love the beauty of what Sanderson does. But if you think it surpasses that, then I ain't gonna argue with him.
Yeah, I would put Sanderson at third. Behind Robert Jordan and Tolkien. And Tolkien will never be matched or surpassed, as far as I'm concerned. Won't stop me from trying. But as far as I'm concerned, he can never be matched or surpassed. In quality and eloquence.
Gonna be darn hard.
And I don't even know that I would be able to do it, mostly because I don't want to take 10 years before I even put pen to page on the story itself. I'm impatient. I just want to get on with it. Mostly because I have a different temperament than Tolkien did. I'm a cranky old man like him, but I have a different temperament than him. And I'm impatient, and I just kind of want to get on with it. And I want my story to be one that evolves and sort of writes itself organically.
I think what you need to do is just smoke as much as he did, and then you're going to be fine.
You know what? That might help. I should tell my wife that. I just need to smoke as much as Tolkien did, and that'll probably help. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. Only 4 years of marriage, and I can already hear her facial expressions.
What did that one mean?
I'm going to murder you.
Well, you've survived this far, so you're doing something right.